Disney has a complicated relationship with LGBT characters. I mean, any mostly straight or cis company is going to be imperfect in portraying gay or trans people, in nuanced ways, that is, but Disney is especially bad. Part of this is due to some behavior that was accepted by the mainstream straight audiences of the past, and part of it is due to a new problem. Appearances of confirmed, openly gay characters in Disney actually go back further than you might think, although that's not really a good thing. As far as I can tell, the first gay Disney character, Catnip, a tough, drunk rival to Mickey Mouse, appeared in 1929, but he wasn't confirmed to be gay until we met his boyfriend 2 years later in one of Floyd Gottfredson's 1931 Mickey Mouse comics. Mickey hasn't yet met his rival in this continuity, and he goes to his house to say hello. He shows up, and an effeminate male cat opens the door, saying he is bringing goodies to Mr. Nip. He has curled eyelashes, speaks with a lisp, and, well, this is how Mickey responds. He kicks him and says,
"Well, here's a goodie for you, and I've got another one just like it for Mr. Nip, the big cream puff inhaler."
Yeah, this is the kind of stuff I hope is seen as indefensible. This wasn't exactly common at old Disney, but it certainly wasn't called out at the time by straight audiences either. Eventually, though, especially after Nazi Germany was influenced by American culture and sociology, it became taboo to say that stuff out loud. Make no mistake, a ton of people still held the views, but you weren't allowed to say that gay equals bad. Disney dialed it back for a bit. For a while, until 1953, when they began to instead say that bad equaled gay. It started with Peter Pan. Hook and Smee are definitely coded as gay, what with Hook being emotionally unstable, foppishly dressed, and vain, and Smee is his faithful hanger-on. The two quarrel like an old married couple, and there's even the unsavory implication that they prey on young boys. The themes of child predation and subservience are repeated in 1967's The Jungle Book by Shere Khan and Kaa. George Sanders, the voice of Shere Khan, was also not a stranger to playing predatory gay men, having portrayed Addison DeWitt in All About Eve. Save those two movies, though, the queer-coded villain trope didn't become common until the Disney Renaissance. While no characters openly expressed explicit attraction to characters of their same gender, many villains in these movies released during the AIDS crisis were coded as gay. Scar has to practice his curtsy and sachets when he dances. Governor Ratcliffe loves opulent displays of flamboyancy and has a subservient subordinate of his own, like Hook. LeFou is infatuated with Gaston and coded as bisexual, as Thomas said in the previous video. Hades is sassy and gives Megara relationship advice, and Ursula was literally based off from real-life drag queen Divine. And that's half of the movies of this era. The villains that aren't coded as gay are either predatory towards women or have little to no personality. And let me be clear that camp does not equal gay, either in the real world or in fiction. Jafar relies on camp, but he never seems to be coded as gay. He's never infatuated with any man, and he never serves the role of a gay best friend. And, of course, behaving in ways traditionally perceived as feminine is not inherently gay either, but the filmmakers relied on this shorthand to imply that if a man is doing things usually done by women, that's a sign that he's untrustworthy. And, of course, the inference being drawn then, that what do women do? Well, they have relationships with men. There are times, though, where the stereotypical camp, flamboyant character can work, in my opinion, even when written by straight authors. Bunker, a gay teenage superhero in the New 52's Teen Titans, is exuberant and wears pink and is overly friendly, but it never feels like a joke. It feels like a really nice person got superpowers, and he also happens to be gay and expresses his sexuality comfortably. Klaus Hargreaves, a pansexual drug addict in Umbrella Academy, is often portrayed as a bit of a joke, but never in a spiteful way. Rather, he's sometimes over the top and stereotypical, but that's a character that he puts on to cope with his trauma. And this also isn't to say that gay-coded characters can't be villains. You might have noticed that I left out Prince John and Sir Hiss from Disney's 1973 film, Robin Hood. Make no mistake, they are coded as gay, but they're not the only ones in that movie. Robin Hood and Little John are coded as bi and gay, respectively. They're incredibly close to one another, prone to showmanship and displays of affection, and are even drag queens. They flirt with male characters multiple times, and, I mean, come on, Little John's a bear, like, literally. Marian and Lady Gluck live together as well, and though Femme and Butch are by no means the breadth of the experience of women who love women, it's both the most famous pairing to straight audiences, and potentially seen here. Finally, Brian Bedford, the voice actor for Robin, rest in peace, was openly gay. Robin Hood is a role often associated with camp and brotherly love, neither of which are inherently gay, but both of which modern straight men are discouraged from expressing. And I don't think it's a coincidence that the best Robin Hood performance came from someone not concerned with presenting as heterosexual. But I'm getting off topic. The reason Little John and Sir Hiss work is that, unlike other Disney villains, these characters aren't the only gay-coded characters in the movie. Sure, they're evil and petty, but that's not what the filmmakers are saying all gay people are like, far from it. Gay characters are shown to be kind, loving, generous, good role models, and adventurous. A far cry from what we got in the Disney Renaissance. Of course, Disney's Renaissance didn't last, and neither did its trend of including gay-coded villains. Starting with Fantasia 2000, for 10 years, Disney didn't really have any gay-coded villains. This period is often called the Disney post-Renaissance era, but it's also called the Second Dark Age, which I think is really unfair. Lilo and Stitch, Emperor's New Groove, Up, Ratatouille, and depending on how you count the eras, Princess and the Frog came out in this period. While there were some characters that you could maybe see having allegories to being gay or in the closet, it wasn't anywhere near the coding seen in previous decades, which is for the best considering that was mostly placed on villains. It was probably now too risky to alienate audiences by portraying LGBT characters as evil, but it was also probably too risky to alienate their steady base of straight, evangelical, and Baptist audiences, by including them without condemning them. Also, I'm not counting Pixar films made before the Disney buyout. Marlin is trans, but Finding Nemo was a Pixar film, not Disney. Things changed, though, in 2010. First, Disney stopped using 2D animation, and things like charismatic villains or unironic displays of sincerity were left behind. Characters have to question why people sing, or deflate sweet moments with jibes. But this new cynical era came with a new attitude towards LGBT individuals. It was becoming less popular to openly hate gay people, so Disney, being a corporate entity, sought to do what it always has: make money. Disney wanted to get LGBT viewers in the seats, which is something it has never really had trouble doing, but it, again, didn't want to alienate its base. So instead, we got characters that were hinted to be gay, but never confirmed, or even named outright. They're not villains, but they're not positive either. Ready? The criminals in a bar in Tangled are all closeted fans of stereotypically feminine hobbies, and are mocked both by the framing of the movie and by the ultra-masculine character Flynn Rider. In Frozen, an obnoxious, unhelpful store owner has a male partner with whom he raises children. Maybe. Blink and you'll miss it. Judy's neighbors in Zootopia are loud, rude neighbors with no courtesy or tact, and if you catch it quick in the credits, they have the same last name. Yeah. With Frozen and Zootopia, if you hear the filmmakers talk about it, these are shining examples of diversity and steps in the right direction. So, 4 side characters, unnamed in the films, exhibiting behavior that could easily be perceived as that of brothers, and generally being annoying and unhelpful. Of course, that wasn't getting them enough attention. Disney's diehard fans were ignoring the side characters lovingly crafted for them to clutch, and instead insisting that main characters like Bucky Barnes and Elsa were gay. Disney would not have that, so a more drastic approach had to be taken, publicly. Disney had to make it clear that main characters were not the gay ones, so minor characters were going to have to be the gay ones, and they wanted this to be explicit, so they released it to the press. LeFou, who, as mentioned, was coded as bisexual, was going to be reimagined as openly gay in Beauty and the Beast, the live-action remake. Disney and its defenders applauded their own bravery in supposedly finally creating an openly gay character, passing over quickly but still acknowledging that this was a return to the evil LGBT tropes of the 80s and 90s. The end result was not even that gay. LeFou was closeted to at least Gaston, his best friend, and presumably the rest of the town, and his moments of gayness include dancing surprisingly for less than a second with a man, and that's it. That's it. Suffice to say, all but Disney's most sycophantic fanatics rejected this representation, so Disney embarked to try again. Straight actor Jack Whitehall was cast in Jungle Cruise as, again, Disney's first openly gay character. Maybe. The film hasn't been released yet, and we'll see how that turns out. But Disney made it clear what they want. Credit. They want praise from LGBT communities, even though, as of yet, again, save Marlin in Finding Dory, they've had no confirmed, obvious, non-stereotypical LGBT main characters. Disney has made it clear that they want your money, they want your praise, but they don't want your struggles. There are elements of Disney that are better than others. Some television shows actually deal with these topics, and the president of Disney World is openly gay. Best of all, Disney has donated money to the victims in the wake of the Orlando nightclub shooting. But, as is, they remain quiet in their representation. Obviously, as an adult, we shouldn't draw validation from a corporate entity. But as Disney is responsible for probably half of what children consume, there is room for improvement.